Hello everyone,
Hello.
we're live once again.
Yep.
How's everyone going this week?
It's been an interesting week, hasn't it? We've had lots of
It has been.
things happening around here.
Absolutely. I don't even remember where to start. From Monday to Friday has been a very interesting week, and we are all very much looking for a weekend.
Yes.
But we have lots of stuff on for today.
That's right. Lots of things to talk about.
So this is the episode 19,
19.
and for next episode we got something big planned. Do you know
Big?
that?
No, I didn't
You
know.
probably don't know that
Surprise
yet, do you?
me.
Surprise. So, next one is going to be a big one,
Right.
but we're not going to say much about it.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be really special.
All right, looking
We're
forward
going to
to
show
that.
some really cool products.
Yes.
So make sure you join us next week.
Yep.
For now, we are live from Hearns
Yes, that's
in
right.
Melbourne,
In
Flinders
Australia.
Street, in Australia.
Yes.
So we have quite a few people watching us from overseas. So it's always good to see different faces.
Yeah.
We actually don't see the faces, but
No,
we chat to
but-
them.
Well, that's right. We do meet a lot of people on the chat.
Let's see, Tony is on. Hi Tony, good to see you every time. As usual, we've got a car at the front here.
It's the quiz of the diecast car once again. So, I can
Off you
tell
go.
you it's blue and it's got a bit of black on it. So, let's see if we can
All
guess what
yours.
it is.
Exactly. So today we're going to talk about batteries.
Yes.
Uh,
Yep. A lot of people have been asking about that.
We're going to look at the Ultima kit from Kyosho this time.
Yes.
Is that Tamiya?
Yep.
What have we got? We've got a drag car behind us here.
Yep.
Something a bit different.
Yes.
Obviously the TRX6, as you can see up here.
Yep. The project.
And, the usual run around on just install products.
Yes. So quite a few new kits
Yeah,
arrived.
absolutely.
Yep.
So this week we're not going to do a new section because we have lots of new products.
Yep.
But what we can say, if you're into trains, this Bachmann is announcing on Monday lots of new releases in the 00 scale. And for RC, we have the new Proline Metal Gear case for the Slash, the Bandit, and all that two-wheel drive range. So
Yep.
it's a version 2, it's just been announced.
Yes.
Hopefully we can bring some more details next week to you, but that's a very interesting release. If you have
Yeah.
a Traxxas Bandit or two-wheel drive, that would be a very cool upgrade.
Definitely. Makes it a lot beefier, bulletproof.
Absolutely. If you put if it's a VXL or brushless,
Yes.
it's probably very much needed.
Yep.
If some of these Bandit or Slashes, they can go probably well over 100 km an hour.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they can cope with a lot, but you know, if you push it really hard, you need
Yes,
something that
absolutely.
can cope with craziness.
So before we get into new products,
Yes.
we had a few questions from the week.
Yep.
And someone was asking about HO and N scale trains.
Okay. Yes.
They can't decide which way to go.
Yep.
What we thought to bring here are a couple of trains.
So that'll give you a better idea of the difference
And
in
then scale.
sizes. So HO is, or HO00. So HO itself is 1 to 87 scale, and 00 is 1 to 76. So in all intents and purposes, they're roughly the same size. So they're designed to mostly run on HO scale track.
That's right.
Just a 00, which is mainly British,
Yep.
tends to be slightly bigger. So your little
Absolutely.
figurines and the trains themselves are slightly bigger.
Yes,
But if you made a layout with HO track, they'll both run on the same.
correct. If you jump on N scale, which is this one here, it's
Yep.
definitely smaller.
Yep.
It's
So
about half the size.
That's right. So what is it? It's 1 to 47 for Japanese, and is 1 to 50th, I think. So it's roughly that sort of size there.
So definitely smaller, and the main benefit is that you can fit a lot more in a smaller space. So
That's
if
right.
you're limited in space,
Yes.
definitely you can fit a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more scenery and track and do a larger layout perhaps.
Yes. So I guess it's with a lot of different scales. The bigger the scale, the more realistic it's going to end up looking, because it's going to have a more realistic shake and rattle to it as it rolls around the layout.
Yeah.
But if you're tight on space, definitely the small size is going to help.
Absolutely.
Because particularly radius of curves,
Correct.
you won't be able to get a larger train to do the same
do
radius.
the same radius. So very much is space limited, or you know
Yes.
that's definitely a limitation or a consideration.
Yes.
Now you also have I forgot to bring here the size in between, which is called narrow gauge,
Yes.
and that will be N scale track on
Yes.
HO 00 kind of size trains,
Yes.
and that gives you kind of the best of both worlds. So you've
Well,
got
that's
the
right.
tight layout
Yes.
opportunity, but at the
Yep.
same time you've got the standard scale of your trains.
Yeah.
So that's also a good option to consider. So
Yeah. So I mean, that's the sort of thing I'm going to try and do with my layout when I eventually finish it, which hopefully would fit within this sort of A3
kind of space.
cutting board.
Yeah. So hopefully that answers the question. But if you have any more specific questions, we can address them next time. But that's just to give an idea.
So we've had quite a few guesses already so far.
Oh, really?
A lot of people asking questions too, which is good.
Okay, so there is a B class and a T class, that's correct. So that's a B class here
Yes.
in N scale, and that's a T class in HO on here. Okay, so in N scale, there's not a huge amount of Australian stock made.
Yes.
This is made by Gopher Models, and there's a couple different version of Australian locomotives.
Yep.
And what else? What other question we have here? So,
We have one from Anthony.
Yes.
He's asking whether the HPI Baja or Via 2 stroke.
okay,
Come in again?
when is that going to come in? I don't know. I think HPI is going through a bit of transformation. Looks like we're hearing some good news on some stock incoming soon.
So I guess they're starting off with the smaller
Correct.
things which are easier to produce.
Yes.
Have they actually come through yet? Not as yet.
They will be coming, I think, in the next few weeks. There will
Yep.
be the Forza, the trophy truck,
Yep.
the Bullet, and some of the touring cars or the Ken block.
Yeah.
WR8, I think it's called from memory. So there's a bit of HPI stock coming. Parts start coming again, apparently. And as for the fifth scale, we don't know. I don't think there is any specific news yet. What else we've got here? What did I read before? The Ultima is for sale. Yes, the Ultima is for sale. We have a few, and there's a few more coming in the next couple of weeks.
Yep. Very
So
nice.
definitely have them here. We're going to have a look at that in a moment.
Car. Yes.
And another size in between is a TT scale. TT scale, yeah, that's correct. There's quite a few in betweens from HO and then scale. There's smaller, bigger, and then you go bigger again, and
Yep.
all the different narrow gauge options too.
Yes. Well, I guess these are probably the most common and the easiest to get bits and pieces.
Correct.
for.
That's correct. Yeah. So, a couple of other comments here. GTS, yes. Okay, I think this time we have already have a
Got the GTS.
GTS.
All right.
yeah.
Okay. So here's another question then. What is the name of this color? The
yes.
specific color for this. So you can't just say blue because that's too obvious. So they do have a
So these are
specific name for
definitely
this one.
specific colors.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay. So moving forward, there was another question throughout the week,
Yep.
and someone was saying to have I think it was a Tamiya, an old Tamiya vintage car, and
Oh,
the
yes.
battery is no longer working,
Right. Okay.
which is very typical. It's something we're going to talk about later on.
Yep.
But that's to do with being a nickel cadmium battery, which means that they do have memory, and they cannot be recharged after a long period of time.
Yeah, I guess particularly if it's an original nickel metal, a nickel cadmium, they are very tough as batteries go,
Yeah.
but eventually they do die. So
Yes.
you're talking, if you got it in the 80s, I mean, you're talking decades now. So
Yeah.
but it's easy to get a replacement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll go through all the different options a bit later.
Yes, we will
Yeah.
be. We will be.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we have a 76 HJ GTS Monaro. Close. Very close.
Yeah, the H is right.
The H is right.
Yeah, yeah.
And the 76 apparently is right too, I believe.
Yes, yes,
So,
close.
looking good.
Yep.
All right. So let's start with a couple of new arrivals.
Okay.
So you've got Meng.
We've got some Meng kits up here. Okay, so Meng, we haven't seen a bit of Meng for a little while. I guess it's because everything that's been going on, production has slowed down a bit.
Absolutely.
So these are pretty exciting. So 35th scale releases. So here we go here. This is a brand new Jeep. So Meng did release earlier on, must have been at the beginning of this year, a flamethrower Jeep, which was incredibly rare, and it was unusual for them to pick something like that. But this is definitely a much more common Jeep, and you'll be able to use that and have a lot more appeal. And then you have, let's just pop that down there. We've got this one here, which is the Yake Panther. This is the G2 model, which is the later model of it, and it also comes with the collapsible crane. So all the Yake Panthers had this sort of mountings on top, and you can just put this up there just so they can do their own work, because the tanks were quite heavy, and I guess if they couldn't get another tank to come along to pull bits off it, then they could just use this, or even use this as a recovery tank.
Wow.
So that's the G2. And then over here we've got the British Warrior. So the British Warrior is a bit like a infantry support vehicle. It's been around for a little while, and this is like a fully modified version which they used throughout the Gulf and Afghanistan. So you'll see that it's got all the, I guess, what do you call it, the slat system armor type on the side to space it out. So the idea there was when the anti-tank rockets hit it, they'll hit the slat first.
Yeah.
The jet of plasma will come out and basically won't be as strong to go through the armor.
Wow.
So that's how they sort of help it. So it looks very mean with that. So it's much bigger than the original Warrior, all fully up armored. So you got those from Meng.
Yes. So moving to something actually really interesting.
Yep.
We announced it a few weeks back, and they're finally here.
Salvino's Jr.
Salvino Jr. That's an interesting name for a start.
Yes.
We just have a small selection here. There's what, about 6 or 7 or 10 in the range.
Yeah,
I
that we
remember
got so
exactly.
far. Yes.
There's a few.
So I guess they're from late 70s to mid 80s.
Yep.
NASCAR models. Let's start off with so Salvino. I think started off. He was with STP, I think, with his father, and they used to put stickers and things, and they were involved in racing. And then he started a toy business, and then the tool maker for all the bodies, he was involved in racing as well, and then really liked NASCARs and wished these models were actually made. And so the two came together, and hence they've made these kits. So they're all brand new molds. So they're not like your standard sort of AMT type kits, which were rough around the edges. So these are all clean. So should we cut one open now?
I think so. Which one should we open? Let's see if anyone has any suggestion.
Let me go get Chopper.
Meanwhile, let's answer some of the questions here. Casino blue? No, it's not quite cool like that, but it's definitely blue. So Monaro GTS HJ Devil Blue Metallic. I think the name is correct of the color. The H is correct also, but it's
yes, another different letter in there.
Different letter in there.
Yes.
There was one gentleman further up, David Malia, I think.
Yeah. Yes, I think David got it. Is a HX77. Now, we believe it's a 76, but I think we can get away with a 77.
Oh, I think so.
He corrected it further down.
Oh, did he? Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 76. Well done.
Excellent.
David, you got it. So we're going to have a look in detail at the car later on. So
that was pretty quick, wasn't it?
There was another question also for you guys.
Right.
It was Kerry263 said, I've got a bunch of really old plastic figures which are so old,
Yep.
they are brittle. Is there any way to restore them so they don't break when touched?
Oh, that's a bit hard, isn't it? So I guess the only way would be you could dip them in a resin to...
strengthen them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a skin around them. But what that's going to do is it's going to add extra thickness to it.
Yeah. And loose detail as well.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
you could almost use them as a to do a mold. You can remold them effectively. Put like the rubber.
Yes.
Helping with that.
The silicon.
The silicon. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And you do a mold for that, and then
Yep.
you can re-inject them and redo them.
Yep. So I guess it depends on how brittle they are. If they can still hold together, you could probably make a mold out of it. And as you pull apart the mold, they'll fall apart, but you'll be able to make a copy of exactly the way it was.
Exactly.
So a couple of different things you can do.
Absolutely. So which one should we open?
I reckon. I like Richard Petty, I guess. What do you reckon? Nice and bright. Bit of blue and red.
I think so. That was my pick as well. So let's
Oh,
put it
there you
aside,
go.
and that's all yours, Pete.
All right, let's chop it open. So the first thing to notice, I mean, the American cars on 1/25th scale, for some reason, they've always been the same size box. So I guess they've copied that so it's easy to fit on the shelf.
Yes, it's consistent.
The difference being is you'll feel it as soon as you pick them up, that they're really, really heavy. There's a lot of stuff in these.
That's more detail, perhaps.
So I would imagine there's more bits. Let's just cut that open there.
Maybe while BJ's opening that up.
Any news? No, yes, news on the beta design is actually traveling, so it should be here probably mid of next week. So we can dispatch your order then, and we have actually some of the stencils as well. So beta design has released a number of stencil or templates that you can use when you paint and
Definitely
airbrush
make
your
it
bodies.
easier.
Will be quite nice.
Yeah.
So there's probably 20 different options, flames and different things. So it will be good to present them in a couple of weeks. So
Yes.
next week, hopefully.
Yes.
So let's jump on.
All
this,
right, let's go
camera.
to this camera over here. All right.
Here we go.
All right, obvious thing is the body. Okay, so
Wow.
first thing to notice is it's got a really high quality gloss to it already. So all the older kits generally didn't have their molds polished as well. So this should give you a really a good paint finish to begin with. The other thing you'll notice as soon as you touch these as well is it's very thin. So it's very much like a Japanese type mold. So you've got really crisp details on the front end. You've got these areas here. So this is just a support for the front of the bonnet. This will be cut off for the engine detail. You got some slick tyres here.
The wheels, yeah.
Yep. I guess tyres are tyres. They're rubber, so they've got a bit of a movement to them. Okay, you got some clear parts here.
Windows,
Yep. So they're all cleanly marked. You've got a little bit of flash, but it's not too bad. And they're very, very clear. That's a contrast to the old kits as well, because the clears were actually quite frosty. Okay, so let's have a closer look at all the individual bits. Okay, so we've got sections of the roll cage here.
Wow. That's very crisp moulding, actually.
So you've got the net already moulded in, and you've got the roll cage, so around here and the back there.
Yep.
And then we have
some interior details here. You can see the dashboard.
Yep, so you get the start of the dash, you've got the bonnet here. So the bonnet again, you can see how it's really, really fine. See how thin it is? It's not chunky. Got some underside detail as well. And then that'll be part of the rear end, I'd say. And then you've got these hubs, wheel hubs. There, and then, okay, you've got the chassis. Okay, so there's floor pan. Floor pans all in one.
Oh.
So as you can see, as I'm pulling it out, it's very similar to a Japanese type kit. The way it's laid out.
Yep.
Okay, so you've got all your framework, all the under chassis detail. Okay, and then you've got your seats. So you've got a race seat here. So a bit funky race seats, aren't they? Don't know if you want to sit into that.
Yeah, not very comfy.
No,
not very racing,
tight, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yep, I think your front end,
the front end
rear
bumpers and rear bumper.
Yep. And then over here you've got finally your engine detail. Okay, so you get your engine block in its halves.
Wow.
Right here. Get your suspension arms, which are quite detailed. Individual shocks, exhaust. Yep, you get the top of the struts there. More of the exhaust to the side.
And the dashboard, I think there.
Yep, there's with all the dials. You got your diff, your radiator, and then the tops of the what do you call them? Rocker covers.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's good there. Okay, and then finally you get your chromey bits. So there's all this bit just in there. Okay, so the chrome, and the chrome, unlike the old style chrome, is quite a fine chrome.
Yes.
So it doesn't have all the chunks and all the undulations that you see. And quite often with that old stuff, you take off all the chrome and you do the chrome again.
Do it again.
Yep. But this is really good, really smooth, like that. Okay, and then you got your manual, and there'll probably be some decals in here somewhere. Okay, so we'll go to decals. Okay, so you got really crisp decals, and from the look of it, they're quite thin. So thin decals are good because they're easier to go on and they look smoother. Yep. Okay, got a little cover, and then you got the manual. So, okay, so you get your manual like this. It shows the decal layout on the front, and then actually this is quite nostalgic because this looks very traditional American style. So hand-drawn type diagrams, step by step, and they're all numbered as well. And then it gives you an indication of what colours to paint and everything as you go. Okay, so obviously you build the engine first, and then you do your floor pan, you do your roll cage, and then towards the back that's all met together, and you finalise that up with the body.
Yeah. Very nice kit.
So good. So it's a breath of fresh air to see
something new.
A new American kit particularly.
And it's very good level of detail as well.
Yes.
This is there's quite a lot of parts. The part count is pretty high, and they look pretty crisp as well, all in all.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
So very good. Okay, let's pop these away.
Yep.
So meanwhile, we've got quite a few questions here.
You want me to tell you one that's
Okay, let me start. So I've done the BT design. So Noel is asking if the Evangelion is they're going to make some new limited editions or special releases for the new movie.
Yes. The movie is called 3.0 plus 1.0 something.
3.0 plus 1.0? I reckon that makes 4.0.
Yeah, it must be. So
there'll always be something.
There will be something coming.
For sure. We just have to wait and see what they release.
Yeah.
But yeah, guaranteed there will be something coming out.
There'll be something.
Yes.
So
There was a few others too. John Blythe asked, they're asking if any modelling companies do classic British cars like old Jags, Zodiacs, Cortinas, etc.
Talking about Jags, well, Tamir's going to re-release a Jag.
Yeah.
So, was it a Jag? Or Lotus?
Lotus. There was definitely Lotus last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lotus, which Lotus is it again? The, on the tip of my tongue.
Don't remember.
It's like the Caterham. So Lotus 7. So Lotus 7, and then also a, there was another one, wasn't there?
Last
We
week,
talked
I
about
think
it a
they had
few weeks ago.
Couple of weeks ago, yes.
Yeah.
There's
So-
a few coming though.
So if you're talking about Jags though, Jags,
I think Rebel had a couple, am I wrong? Or
they've been around. So XK120s, Hasgar makes some XJSs, but they come and go. So
there's a few around there.
yeah, don't have any at the moment, but they are around.
I think there was a gift set from Airfix. There was a Jaguar as well.
Oh, it could have been, yes.
A gift set,
Yeah,
like a
sounds
little
about right.
70-second gift set
Yes.
from memory.
So
there's-
Tamir
there's-
also had a
there's few.
Mark II for some years, but that's long gone.
There's a few coming, yeah. So
Mm.
very
They're
good. I think that's all the questions for now. Have I missed one?
There was one more. It was a very quick one. Someone was asking, Bricks 4 Days was asking about if there'll be any new All-Cision D-Class rerun logos coming in.
I'm not aware of that. We will have to find out. Our Cision, they don't do often reruns that I know of. There's lots of new stuff coming. There's a few new coming, but not sure about the reruns. Really.
Have to check on that
We'll have
one.
to find out on that one.
Yeah.
Yes. Here we go. Nick is telling us that Mia did a nice Jaguar Mark II.
Yes.
But it's long out of production, and Azigawa has done recently the XJ.
Yes.
So, thank you, Nick. Cool. So, next one is Nanoblocks.
Nanoblocks.
We haven't had Nanoblocks for probably 3 years in here,
Yes.
and they're very welcome.
They've got some really nice additions, haven't they?
After the trumpeted Titanic, we have the Nanoblocks Titanic,
And this one, everyone was asking for the icebergs. This one includes an iceberg.
and it's probably the
plus
same
value there.
number of parts. It's like 1,800 pieces.
1,800.
So I think it's very similar to the big Titanic that we presented a couple of months ago.
Yeah, so
Large
a
number of parts.
bit more manageable.
And
It's a fair size.
there is also Flinders Street Station. So for those that want to build a tiny Flinders Street Station, they miss coming to work
Yes.
every day, is 430 pieces of Flinders Street Station here.
And I mean, that's iconic. That's just underneath the clocks. I mean, as a
Yes.
kid, I used to meet my mates
Absolutely.
underneath the clocks.
And there's a range of animals as well. That's the shark.
Well, that's a very Aussie.
Absolutely. So
And it's been in the news lately because it's been grabbing a few people
yes,
here and there
yeah,
around
absolutely.
Australia.
Absolutely. So just something different. If you're
Yes.
home, that's a good that's an alternative to puzzles perhaps,
Yes.
and something new we haven't had for a while.
Yeah. And you don't need a huge amount of space to build these, but they've got the complexity to keep it interesting.
Yes, keep it interesting. So, okay. Next one, we move to RC. So this week we received some tires from a brand called Pitbull.
So these are very special in that these are quite specific for crawling, aren't they?
They are specific for crawling, yes.
They're really soft.
So we've got a few different sizes here. So Pitbull is a US-made, is a gas manufacturer. They actually make, the company makes actually tires for rear cars, and they have
Oh, right. Okay.
a brand for 110 scale rock rollers.
So they've got the actual real style tread on them.
Yes, let's
Right.
see. Whoops, sorry one. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, different ones have different threads, and they often are similar to actually real off-road tires. Really, different patterns. So there's different diameters.
One interesting thing about them is how firm they feel, but the rubber is quite soft.
Yes, so most of those are on the so-called Alien compound, which is the ultra soft compound that
Right.
they produce, which is made to be extremely grippy.
Yep.
So they have the support for the weight of the trucks, but
Yep.
at the same time they grip really well.
So I guess when you're going over a rock, you want it to be able to just hold on the sides without
And grab
deforming.
it. Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And
Okay.
as you can see, there's different size wheels for different size tires. So this is a 1.55 inch diameter, and as you see, this is the wheel that goes in here. It's quite nice.
There's a black
There's
version.
a black and a white version. Now this is very scale. It's becoming quite popular at the moment. with those modelers who like to have their RC cars that look very scale and very realistic. So
Yeah.
there's lots of accessory that go into these cars, and obviously you want to have the right size tires as well.
They look exactly like a full-size stamped wheel.
That is correct. So we just received those today as well by EXO 4x4, and we have them in 1.55 white and black, and also 1.9 size, which is a bit more of a standard size for crawlers.
Yep.
That's a 2.2, really flash
Yep.
wheel that will possibly go into some of those with a bit of stretching.
That is pretty bling, isn't it?
This is pretty bling. So this is something that we're going to put on our TRX6 most likely.
So do these sort of fit on most crawlers?
That fits on most crawler. They are on a traditional 12mm
12mm
hex, so
hex,
they will fit
yep.
on virtually any crawler.
Okay.
Really. So from Pitbull we also received the Chronic shocks, which
Wow.
are really high-end shocks for crawlers.
Yep.
They come in 4 different sizes, so they go
Yep.
from 100mm all the way down to I believe 70.
Yep.
And they should give much better adjustability and suspension performance on your crawlers.
It's interesting, it's got the option there with the springs on the outside, so that's a fixed rate spring.
Correct.
And then the one that's already mounted on it is a dual rate.
Dual rate springs, so there's 2 springs in it. Let's see if you jump to the side here.
Yep.
As you see here, there's a full rate spring, and then in this case we have 2 springs mounted here.
Yep, you just see the collar in the
collar
middle there
yeah.
that's separating the 2 different ones. That's a bit clever, isn't it?
That's very nice, yeah. So here we go. So there are the rock crawler tires, and as
Yep.
we're talking about rock rolling, I think
Yep.
we should give an update on the TRX6.
Okay, what have you done to it?
Let's see, let's put this away. I think we're going to put some of these tires on there soon, next week.
Right.
Whoa, it's getting heavier.
It's
Okay,
getting heavier, so you've added bits to it.
we had a bits to it, so we actually install a front metal bumper. It's a bit hard to see, but it's up here.
Oh yeah,
is-
so it's a black colour one.
It's a black color and it
Yep.
fits really, really well.
Yeah.
Let's see if you go on the side camera, if it's any better.
Yeah, it's quite snug, as you can see from that angle.
So, okay, so that's the bumper, which is really nice because you can fit a winch in front here,
Yep.
and it will be hidden inside the body. So
Oh,
it'll be quite
yeah.
nice, and it can pop up from the front here.
Yep. Clever.
Very nice. It's quite high, so it won't affect the angle of attack of the car, so you can
Yep.
still go up pretty steep climbs.
Oh, that's really neat, the way it
That
fits
is
on that.
really, really neat, yes.
Okay.
Then we install the tray at the back. It's a metal tray. Jump on this side.
Oh, wow.
There you go, and that's pretty flash too.
Yep. Oh, it definitely looks better with
That
that.
looks quite nice.
Gives it a better definition.
And to finish this week installation,
Yep.
we put a widening kit. So someone will notice how wide these wheels are now. It's
Oh,
a
it is
12
good, just on the back end.
12 yes, just on the
Wow.
back end. 12mm on each side.
Yes.
It's going to make it really, really wide. So just a couple of upgrades that we installed this week. Hopefully next week we have a bit more time to put on I think these wheels. This week could look really good.
Oh, you need the full bling?
The full bling wheels,
Full
I'll
bling.
see. There we go.
Yep.
That
No, it looks good.
That will look special.
Yeah, yeah. I like
Uh,
the accents.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the news on the TRX6. So it's been fun so far.
Mm.
If anyone has any suggestion on what to put next, let us know.
I look forward to driving this. Am I allowed to drive it?
No, you're not.
No? Okay, I'll
This is
have
gonna
to take
be
it one day when
part
you're not
of-
looking.
The Hearns exclusive. This is gonna have a special exclusive tag.
Ah,
So there'll be a
so
limited
it's going to be
edition.
a one-off.
A one-off, yeah. There'll
Yep.
be a limited edition. It'll be marked by this
Okay.
exclusive Hearns exclusive little tag.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's park this again,
Yes.
and BJ's gonna tell us everything about the drag car.
Tell you everything about the drag car. Well, okay.
Yes. So
Well, we've got a chassis here, which Tom's brought in.
yeah, today Tom walked in with this one, and we thought it would be interesting to present this on the live. I don't think it's a very common thing that we see these days around anymore.
You know, so drag cars have been around for a while. You see them from time to time. And I think Traxxas even made a drag car at a rail dragster at one stage. And I think GV did quite a number. So I've played around with a few drag cars, but nothing as special as this. So I'm pretty sure that Tom takes this for competition drag
Yes.
racing, and so it has to fit in a particular class. So let's just have a closer look inside. Okay, so just got a polycarbonate body here, and the rest of this is a custom-made chassis.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, what is it?
There's some
It's got a little
raisins.
bit of carbon fibre in the
at the
front,
front.
but It looks like fiberglass.
There's fiberglass, I think, yes.
Okay, so you can just get an idea of how long this all is.
Yes.
Okay, so you just got a mini servo on the front, just to control the steering. And when you're going at high speeds, you don't need a lot of steering. You just got to keep it going straight. And then you got the long servo lead here because you mount most of your stuff at the back.
At the back,
so
to
for
keep
the
the weight to the back.
And your motor here.
Yep.
And then the gear ratio will be geared for really high speed. So this will be run with 3 cells with a Mamba setup. 5700
kV motor.
That's right. So 5700 kV motor with 3 cells and expected top end of 180 kilometers an hour.
Wow.
So it's amazing how only 3 cells can propel something like this at that sort of speed. Yeah,
absolutely.
But as you can imagine, there's hardly any weight in this. Okay, so it's foam rear tires, super soft. You felt this?
Oh wow, very spongy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they've got some sort of special juice in there too.
Absolutely. Is there any smells? Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's still
There's been definitely something in there.
Yeah. So you want the super grip because you need the traction to keep it going, and then the front end. You see how skinny they are. Well, skinnier tires give it more directional stability, and also that's where the length comes in as well. So there you go, something different.
Once I guess it's built, we'll see some progress. We'll bring it back again.
Yes.
But it was very good to see one of these. I haven't seen one in a long time.
How long do you think that is? That's over a meter long.
That's over a meter long, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Very nice. I like it.
Very, very interesting. So,
there's been 2 recommendations for TRX6.
Okay. Tow hitch, yeah, that's a good one. And the Hobby Wing axle, yeah, we have been thinking about a brushless system. That would be very, very nice actually. For those that don't know, the Hobby Wing axle is a brushless system which is fully sensored and waterproof. Normally when you have a brushless system with sensor cables, it's very hard to waterproof them.
Yep.
But this specifically axe system is actually fully waterproof and has a really advanced technology to actually follow the timing of the motor and all that. So extremely smooth, specifically at low speed.
No, that's good.
Very nice solution.
Censored feels so much better than non-censored.
Absolutely. Specifically on the crawler where you have that kind of really low speed control, it's very much needed.
Yes.
So, batteries.
Yes, okay.
We touched earlier on batteries, specifically on the old Tamiya cars, and we're going to just give a rundown on different type of batteries.
Sure. Okay, so we talked about NiCad batteries, which have been the basic rechargeable battery for a very long time. Now, the cadmium within NiCad is quite poisonous, so it's very hard to recycle. So they came up with nickel metal hydride. So nickel metal hydride, so the overall size and shape of the battery is the same, but the chemistry within is much cleaner. The downside at the time was they didn't have as much output. NiCads tend to have more, I guess you would call it in these days, C rating, so they could push out more power. But nickel metal hydrides have evolved to the point where they have much higher capacity than a NiCad ever could. So, for example, these ones here, they're a 5,000 milliamp hour. So the early days of a Tamiya car in the mid-80s, a standard battery would have been a 1200. So this is basically 3 and a bit times more than the batteries back then. So you basically got 3 times longer running time. Yeah. So something like that. So if you had a Tamiya car, so these ones got a hump in them. So this one is better suited for Traxxas cars, which use their extra cell for the extra voltage for the speed.
And they've got a shorter battery tray.
That's right.
Yeah.
But with most of the Tamiya vintage cars, they would have been like this configuration, just the 6 cells.
Yes.
And that's what's called racing the pack.
Correct.
So you can get nickel metal hydrides in the same shape, and then you could just be able to mount them in your old car or even your new,
which is very similar to current size battery as well.
Yeah,
so what we use on
this
racing
is lithium
cars.
polymer.
Yes.
Yep. So lithium polymer is a newer technology to nickel metal hydride. So the advantage of lithium polymer is, again, it has high capacity, but the biggest difference is it's got a lot more power output.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the discharge capabilities of a LiPo give you much more torque and much more speed capability. Now, when you're talking about fitting LiPos into a earlier car, it all depends on the shape of the battery.
Correct.
So the earlier cars were shaped with the oval on the end there, like this, which means that a LiPo won't fit because they're square-edged. Okay, so that's something that you need to consider if you want to upgrade to a LiPo with those old cars. An alternative is you can get LiPos with this particular shape.
Yes.
Yeah.
The capacity is often a little bit smaller. I think Envision is quite has a couple of 4500s that do fit that kind of traditional Tamiya cars, that would be a good option.
Yeah, for sure.
So yes.
Yeah. But if the car's a bit more modern and does
Yep.
have the room, then definitely a LiPo is
It's a
worth
good option.
considering.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I guess when we talk about battery, there is capacity, which is
Yes.
measuring milliampere,
Yes.
and there is voltage as well.
Yes.
So the capacity obviously determines the runtime,
Yes.
whether the voltage is more related to speed
That's
often
right.
enough.
Yes.
Based on the car that you have, you may end up having limitation on what voltage you can actually input into your speed controller. So
Yeah.
some are limited to 2S, which is 7.4 volts,
Yes.
roughly, but you can go obviously higher up to 8S, which is on some of these big trucks as
Yeah.
X-Maxes.
As long as the car can handle it.
Can
Yeah.
handle
So
it,
that's
correct.
interesting too with voltage, because the earlier batteries, because these are made up of single cells, each
Yes.
cell was 1.2 volt.
Yes,
So when you add it all together, it's 7.2 volt
yes,
as a nominal voltage. Now with a LiPo, they're slightly higher, so they're 7.4 volt.
yeah,
But after they charge, they tend to hold their voltage even more than
Correct.
nickel metal.
yes.
So if you wanted a little bit better performance without changing anything, then just change it to a lithium polymer battery will
Okay.
give you more performance.
Get the extra bit and then more
Yes.
consistent, because
Yes.
the curve of the voltage curve on an IMH battery is
It's always dropping,
It's
isn't
dropping
it?
all the time.
And then it'll drop suddenly.
But on the LiPo tend to be way more linear and stable with a big drop at the end.
Yes,
So
that's right.
in racing is very important, because that means for your 5 or 6 minutes of runtime, you can have more consistent top speed.
That's right.
So that's always the research of the limit. The extra few seconds in a race is often done by a battery which can keep the voltage higher for longer period of time.
That's right.
So I think shape then is another big factor, specifically
Yes.
on the lithium polymer batteries. We've
Yes.
got a few here.
Yeah.
Let's put them all up.
So I guess the shape's been evolving as they've been available. So they've been getting smaller and slimmer, and
Yes.
with the small size, they've also been getting high capacity as well. So some of these, I mean, we've got batteries that go up to 7,200 milliamp hours in such a small package.
Yes.
But now we're getting slimmer with a decent size as well. So the 5,900 in a
Yep.
very slim
Yep.
is quite amazing for the area. And also being slim, it means that with racing pack,
Absolutely.
you can have lower.
Lower center of gravity.
That's right.
So then you have shorties, which is what you see here, which is again mostly for buggies.
Yes.
Some start using these on touring car because they can actually move the weight more forward or backward, so that gives more adjustability.
Yes.
But it's called shorty pack,
Yep.
and it's commonly used on off-road buggies.
Yep.
So big difference in sizes and shapes, which are mostly for tuning purposes.
Yes.
These are larger capacity. That's for 1.8 buggies. That's a
Yep.
4S pack, and that's a shorty 4S pack again.
Yes.
So even in the 4S, there's different sizes. So as you can see, lots of tunability on these batteries. Now these are hard case, which means that the cells are protected by a plastic case, which
Yes.
is for safety purposes.
Yeah, that's right.
And even if you have a crash, then there's less chances of damaging the battery itself.
Because as the lipos are produced, as in these are individual cells that have been put together, but they're in a hard case already. So lithiums come in a soft polymer bag. So hence they're easier to get damaged, in
So-
that they can be punctured.
This is a soft case LiPo, as you can see. So
Yep.
let's see if we can pop on the side here. This is a 3-cell, and you should be able to see, it's probably hard on the camera, 1, 2, and 3 cells in here.
Yes, and then it's held together with some very thick heat shrink
Heat
to
shrink.
seal it together.
Now, the same battery can end up into a hard case, which means they put the hard case all around this, and it'll
Yes.
be in a hard case battery.
Yes,
The downside of that is that the battery is going to become thicker,
yes,
and it may not fit all cars again.
that's right. So I guess a lot of cars that use a soft case, they generally have a hard support in them already.
Correct.
So you don't need to have another hard case battery inside.
Absolutely.
So you can make do with the advantage of the high capacity.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
I think, what else we can say? I think, yep.
Oh well, there's the other battery too, the lithium ferrite.
Yes.
Okay, so these are all the lithium type batteries. So we talked about lithium polymers, which have a high output, and then we've got lithium ferrite. So lithium ferrite, you see them in some of the smaller, cheaper cars.
Correct.
And also in competition use, you see them being used for receivers or small power supplies.
Radios as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the reason being is, I mean, LiPos are great with high output, but a lot of these devices don't need a lot of high output, and consistency and I guess safety in mind is more important. Whereas you've got such high discharge output from lipos that if they do short, you can have some really bad fires and such.
Absolutely.
And in that case, lithium ferrites are more stable.
Safer.
Yeah. So there's less chances of them fully going catastrophic.
And catching fire. And,
that's right.
And burning your car.
Yes.
So a couple of other things. You can see this battery comes with leads. So that can plug in directly into your car.
Yes.
You may have different plugs which you can change and replace.
Yep.
But the racing packs have bullets because, well, for a number of reasons, you have your leads coming from the speed controllers and you plug them directly into your battery here.
Yep.
There's some risks there. You can easily reverse polarity, so you need to be very careful on that.
Yep. But the advantage is you don't have the extra
weight and an extra length.
The plug in the middle.
Plug in the middle.
Yep.
So race pack tend to be like this. There's two different size plugs. There's 4mm or 5mm. Different manufacturers use different type of plugs.
Yes. And
what else we can say? Balancing. I think that's a very important aspect.
That's
actually
a very obvious point between the differences. So you see that the nickel metal hydrides here, they only have a black and white. A black and red wire for the power plugs, which is fully soldered.
Inside.
Yep. Whereas you have two sets of leads on a lithium. Okay, so one which is very similar. The thicker leads are the power output leads.
Yep.
And then the thinner leads are actually the charging balancing leads. So with lithiums, it's very important that the batteries are charged at the same point of each other.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you have them discharging at different rates, and the battery will become imbalanced, and eventually that will die. And
cause instability and potentially danger even in specifically if you
possibly.
undercharge one cell.
Yes.
Then the battery will not be able to be charged again, but it could cause other problems, including fires or whatsoever.
Yeah.
Really. So, So what else? We've got a few questions here. Okay. So Tony is asking if the cells can be individually replaced. Well, in this case, yes.
Well, you can do. I mean, not many people do it, but it's a possibility.
You could do that.
Yes. With a lithium, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't touch it.
No,
I would say
because of the risk involved.
Yes.
With short circuiting and seeing them go up in flames, they're quite scary. So, if the batteries fail, we tend to dispose of them and just replace it with a new one.
So Don is also asking if lithium polymer batteries have a longer runtime compared to nickel cadmium.
They would compared to nickel cadmium.
Yeah. Yes, they would definitely do.
Yes. So you'll notice that the capacities are much higher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Even the speed. So the voltage will be constant for a lot longer. So you can probably use it for the full capacity of the battery. With the nickel cadmium, halfway through you start losing speed, and three-quarter into it you're going to give up because your car becomes far too slow.
Yes.
So definitely.
But one of the tricks is the thing about lithiums is it can drive much longer. So if you're putting it into a vintage car, it could be driving much longer than it was designed to.
Correct.
So it's important to stop the car now and again.
Not overheating the motor.
That's right.
Yes.
Because if you cook the motor will wear out, and it'll prematurely die.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Noel is suggesting to cut one lead shorter than the other one, so you cannot cross polarity.
Well,
which is a very good suggestion, actually. Very good suggestion. One of the best things I've seen recently was in a Yakumo battery, where they use the 4mm plug on one side and the 5mm plug on the other one.
That's right.
Which will give you reduce the chances of cross polarity. That's a really good idea.
Yes.
Strange not seeing that one in other manufacturers actually.
Well, I guess it's a lot easier just to put the same tube
plugs
on every one.
Yeah, true that. So and I guess that's it for batteries really.
Yes.
There's many different batteries for many different applications, different prices and different types.
Yes. So I mean, these batteries are just the ones that we commonly use in cars.
Yes.
So there's also the batteries that you use in aircraft are slightly different as well.
Very different again.
Yeah.
I think I took a big one actually. Forgot about this one. That's a big battery for aircraft. Actually, it's huge. That's a 6-cell capacity battery.
So you find that aircraft batteries tend not to be hard cased.
Yes.
Because you want to save as much weight as possible.
Correct.
So you can take advantage of as much capacity they can fit into the aircraft. And I guess the only time you need to worry is when the aircraft hits the ground really hard.
Yes, which will be catastrophic anyway.
That's right. Nothing's going to save it, even a hard case.
So this is a 6,000 milliampere battery, 22.2 volts.
Yes.
And we weighed this last week and it's about 1 kg.
Wow.
That's really heavy. That's a big battery. So
But imagine if you tried to do that with nickel metal hydrides, it would be much heavier again.
Yes, exactly right. Correct. You probably wouldn't even get to the same capacity.
That's right.
So
it's interesting that LiPo technology has it's probably been the biggest influence in aircraft. So that's where the change from petrol powered aircraft went to electric powered very quickly, because you were able to get this enough power with the lightweight to be able to propel the aircraft well.
absolutely.
So hence electric aircraft are much more popular
These days. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. So a couple more questions. Okay, so I missed one before from David. Hobbywing are releasing a motor and an ESC all-in-one. I have seen that one actually, but I don't have any information on when and if really. But that will be quite interesting to see that one coming. I think it was tried in the past by...
I saw that on a Kyosho Orion.
Yeah, I think so, you're correct. I think it was an old idea that was tested. I don't know what happened to that, but yeah, I've seen the Hobbywing somewhere else.
I've seen them try to do that for aircraft as well at one stage.
Yep. And David is also asking, I need to replace my 0.18 nitro engine for my Terra Crusher. Have you got any ideas? Well, I think OS produced a 0.18 engine of some kind. So that definitely an OS engine would be a good starting point.
I think so. So most of the configurations for cars are available in OS type. So the different types of carburetors. So you just have to work out whether you need a slide carburetor or a rotary carburetor. And then the other thing would be the exhaust. So usually a 0.18 would be a side exhaust, but it may be a rear exhaust. Then the next thing would be the length of the shaft. So there's a short shaft or a long SG type shaft.
Yes.
And once you've got those combinations worked out, you should be able to find a replacement.
The right replacement, yeah. But definitely something out there. John is asking how much that last big battery, the price of that.
The huge one?
The huge one I think is about $200 from memory. Yeah, it's a $200 battery.
And I think he's asking if he could use it to drive his telescope mount.
That would be dependent from the voltage that your telescope can handle mostly.
Yeah.
So that's a 22.2 volts. You can actually regulate the voltage if you have a voltage regulator.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to that really.
I guess it just see the specs on your telescope.
Yeah.
And just see how much you need to feed into it, and we'll be able to work it out from there.
You can buy a 6,000 capacity 7.4 volts, which will come a lot cheaper and will probably still produce the same runtime more or less. So yes. Okay. So.
All right.
How's it going here? Well, it's getting quite long. Should we have a quick look at the Ultima?
Oh, why not?
Or should we leave it for next week?
Oh, I don't know. How much time is everyone want to watch?
Should we?
Who wants to see it?
Let's bring it down for now.
Well, we had one or two people before saying that they'd like to see it.
Oh,
okay.
there you go.
So
there you go.
That's the answer. Okay, so that's the Ultima.
Okay.
So let's have it.
Chop.
That's
That's
already been chopped.
Now the Ultima, I'm trying to remember, was that the car that Joel Johnson used to win his first world championship?
Yes. Can we open it?
Yes, it's coming.
Some
It's coming.
difficulties.
It's a nice tight fit, so I think it's just caught in this corner here.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So let's jump on this side here.
Yep.
And here you go. Let's start with the sticker sheet actually and the manual.
So the Kyosho cars of this era, we're talking about, I think it's 1986, isn't it, this one? 86, 87? You'll see that the quality of the overall car is higher spec than Tamiya.
Yes.
So Tamiya was very much a plastic car, because Tamiya at the time designed their cars for beginners and then for advanced users, but Kyosho designed their cars for competition use.
Competition, yes.
So there's a lot more aluminium parts. And this one's quite clever for the time for having the pressed aluminium chassis.
Yes. The
So-
box is really nice for a start. They've got this very nice display. So we start with the wing. That's a plastic wing,
Yes.
which is very much 1/8 style. And that's the little body, which
Yep.
is extremely lightweight. We, the driver, so molded in.
Oh, yes. I'm sure the original Ultima probably had a polycarbonate wing.
Polycarbonate wing, possibly. So, then moving on. Should we go for this one?
Yep.
Let's see.
Okay, so that's a box of bits.
So the chassis I can see is in here. So, there we go.
So I guess associated with the first to do their pressed T6 aluminium chassis with their RC10. And then Kyosho's come up with this lightweight type. So you see all the cutouts on the sides. So I mean, it used to let in a bit of dirt, but it was easily covered up with some tape, so it's still much lighter than a full aluminium type tub. And then you had what's a fiberglass top plate? Where's this one plastic?
This looks plastic. This
Right,
is like
okay.
a plastic top plate, but there'll probably be some upgrades.
Yep.
That's your wheel hubs and some shock components here.
Yep.
Bottom of the shocks here. There we go. It's the top plate here. We've got the wheels in here as well. Wheels are really nice. So it's your wheel here.
Yeah, so they got those aero disc style.
Inserts.
Look very much like a Honda wheel of the time. I remember Preludes and things like that had wheels like that.
There we go. So these are your tires. Which are actually quite modern, actually, if you're looking at what we actually using now for racing.
Yep.
Got these tabs like this. You had your inserts, which we actually discussed something similar a couple of lives ago.
Yes.
But inserts for cars.
Yes.
And up your rims.
Yep. Yeah, what you find too is the Kyosho cars that have been reissued have been modified to a point where they're designed to handle brushless motors.
Yes.
So they've upgraded them, and they've also designed them so that they can be raced in vintage racing, which is fairly common around the world.
Absolutely.
And one of those obvious bits would be, you can see some of the transmission bits that Rick's just pulling out now. So
There we go.
they've got the metal gears there.
Yep.
And then I think it's all 48 pitch now as well.
Looks like, yes. Looks like 48 pitch.
48 pitch?
I think...
I think it's 48 pitch from memory, from
It
looking somewhere.
definitely will be it looks very 48 pitch.
Yep.
Comes with bearings.
Yes, comes with all the bearings.
So here, you can see here, that's the bearings here.
You see the big
metal
shock.
drive shaft.
Yep, the big shock bodies.
The red shock bodies, metal again. And
Yep.
You've got drive caps again in metal.
Yes.
And your motor mount.
So you can see how racing type the motor mount is, because even cars of this era look very similar. So it's got the slotted area where you can change the position of the motor
Position
for
of the
your
motor.
ratios for different size pinions.
And
There's some chunky plastic bits.
that's heavy. So you got all the metal bits. So there's a I think that's the
Oh, that's the motor guard at the back.
Yep.
Yep.
Got springs and other parts for your shocks.
Comes with all the
Shock
oils.
fluid.
Yep.
And the diffs. I think these are all the gaskets for the diffs, so all the diff components.
Yep.
It's a servo saver.
Yep.
In here.
Yeah, that's a bit different. I don't remember the original
Having a
having
servo saver.
gaskets.
Yeah.
Servo saver, did you say?
There's a metal servo saver in here.
Oh, really?
It's, this one here. I believe this must be a servo saver.
Oh, okay, yes. Yes, it's one of those adjustable type
Yeah,
ones.
yeah,
Yes.
And some more plastic parts here.
So what about there? You got gearbox housings,
Gearbox housing,
arms.
arms, and a few other bits and pieces really.
Yep.
And that is the Kyosho Ultima re-release, which is quite nice. We've got a few questions here. Okay. So does it come with bearings?
It
Yeah,
does.
it does.
Yeah, there's a full set of bearings.
Full set of bearings
Yep,
there,
see all the bearings just there.
which is again nice upgrade.
Yep. Look at the old rubber sealed ones.
As for spare parts, I believe we can source spare parts. We'll have to be ordering. We won't stock them, but I believe Kyosho still produces spare parts.
Oh, they will, yeah. They'll just
So
be
that's
an order
something
item.
we can organise perhaps.
There's also two more questions from David from earlier on.
Yeah.
His first one was, can I bring my old .18 in and try and organise it with you guys or sort it out?
Oh, you can do. Perhaps the easiest skill would be just to take photos of it and then send them to our email, and we'll get that sorted out, I think.
Yeah.
So as long as you get some detailed photos of the carburetor, the shaft, pull start if it has one, and the exhaust, and then if you get some photos of it actually mounted in the car too, so we'll work out the engine mounting system. You
Yes.
should be able to work it out
Yeah,
from there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay? Do you stock any Kyosho motors? No, I believe Kyosho has re-released some of the motors too, and they may be coming in the near future. But no,
So
we
we're talking
don't have
about
any.
gas motors,
I think electric motors.
electric motors.
Yes. I'm not sure what is the status of the motors, but I believe if they will become available, they will be coming as well. And is the Ultima suitable for a first timer? I say, why not?
Yeah, it can be. I mean,
Should
as long
be.
as you're mechanically minded,
Yes.
Because they're not as straightforward as a Tamiya car.
Yes.
Tamiya cars basically fall together when you follow the instructions. So these need you to have some sort of understanding of how shocks work, how suspension works,
Yes.
so that you don't overdo certain screws.
Correct.
So you just check that things are loose and make sure it's all free.
And
should be pretty
fine.
right.
So if you take your time and don't rush it, then definitely is a good option. Really, still good fun. It's going to take a bit of time. Definitely be more complex compared to a Frog or Hornet or one of those cars.
Yeah,
so.
but once you get it together, it will be a much more adjustable machine.
Absolutely.
And a higher performance machine as well.
And you can definitely put some brushless motors and there will be more speed.
Yes.
So I think with this we may finish up the day, unless there is any more questions.
Oh, just one thing I thought I'd better say about the competition.
Yes.
So the mech competition that we finished up last week.
Yes.
So we got the results in and we awarded prizes to the first 3. So the first one was Takumi. He came up with a mech diorama. So it was the, what was it? It was a SAF-based suit with a resin, I think an intruder conversion, which was very nicely done. Really nice weathering. Second was Johan with sort of Turn X, I think, from memory, which had really nice, a clean finish with weathered edges. Overall balance was really very classy. And then third was a Sazabi by Ben, and in a very custom color.
Yes.
A really interesting look,
Very interesting.
because it was white with the prismatic finish on it. And they came third.
Indeed.
So
very nice competition.
Oh, it was good.
Very
It was
close.
good.
Very close.
Yeah, it started off slow, but they all started coming in towards the end of the competition.
4:45. Yeah.
Yes.
10 entries. So
That's
or
it,
15
that's
actually.
coming.
So that was really good. So thank you very much again to those that have been joining the competitions.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Been
So
good fun.
it's been really good quality, and yeah, I think everyone's enjoying it.
Absolutely.
And then we have to work out another one, which we'll announce for, I don't know, I guess we'll announce it in a week or so.
I think
we'll work out what it's going to be.
So, what's
do
your
another.
Suggestion? Let's see if we get any suggestion in the meantime.
Yeah.
And then maybe next Friday we can announce the following competition prize.
Sure.
So
Sounds good.
that could be good. So,
Yep. So we worked out all this, didn't we?
we haven't yet, but well, we have, I think.
Yes.
So it's a HX GTS Monaro
Yes.
76, I think we established,
Yes.
and the color was, I can't pronounce that.
Deauville Blue.
DEAUVILLE blue. Here we go.
DEAUVILLE blue,
Which is a French blue.
which
Perhaps.
in other words is a deep metallic blue.
Deep metallic blue.
Yes.
And quite nice the finishing at the front here. Let's see if we can quickly jump on this one before we close. It's actually a matte finish of this part of the bonnet here.
I like
It's
the
really,
little
really
detail, the little tinting above on the top of the windscreen.
Yes.
That's a very of the time.
Whoops, sorry again. Yes, that's right. That's very nice. And as usual, 1/18 scale die cast from Classic Collectables. Got opening doors. I actually noticed just before that even the seats are reclining.
Yeah, they move back and forth.
So, which is a really nice level of detail. The stitching on the seat is really crisp.
Yes.
I got seat belts. See if you can actually see from here. Probably no, but you can see the seat belts in here. In the rear seats as well.
Yep.
And very nice finishing, nice metallic.
Yep. So this one's got the opening bonnet and boot.
Boot,
So I think the
actually.
bonnet, you need to push a button underneath the chassis to get that to open.
Got a spare wheel. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, so there's a little button on the corner. Just
Yes.
Yep. Just press it up to help it come up, and then you put your
There we
finger
go.
in there, pick it up. That opens up like so.
Here we go. And that's your bonnet here.
Yep.
Open, motor engine details.
It's got quite a bit of cabling inside the engine as well.
There is actually.
Looks really nice.
The spare wheel at the back here. Off you go.
Yeah, very well engineered.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, there's another show, isn't it?
One more done. It's actually going very long. So
Yes.
it's almost an hour. Actually past an hour, I think.
Looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely. Next one is going to be a big one.
Yep.
You don't know yet what?
No, I don't know yet.
I have a plan.
No idea.
So next is going to be number 20.
Right.
It'll be 20 weeks in a row doing this. which
Wow.
is Long.
20 weeks.
20 weeks.
Wow, time flies.
So make sure you join us on the next one.
Yep.
Will be an interesting one.
Yeah, it'll be a big surprise.
Big surprise.
Yeah, for me too.
Very good. You're going to
Yep.
show up here at 1:59 and be
That's it.
surprised.
That's right.
Very good. So if you have questions throughout the week, make sure you pop them in the comments following through our social medias in
Yeah,
any
definitely.
or the post that we do.
Yep. Any questions you want? Any shoots you'd like us to do?
Yes.
Yep. Give us some ideas, and we'll work at getting those done for you.
So thank you everyone for joining us once again. Episode 19 done, and we shall see you next week.
That's it.
All right, everyone.
All right. Thanks.
See you next time.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.